The Enclave projects weren't to rebuild America. They wanted to exterminate 99.5% of humanity first. Every vault, every virus, and every experiment served one massive genocide plan that would make the Great War look like a minor inconvenience. So, today I'm breaking down every single Enclave project, from their vault-tech shelters turned into experimentation chambers, to their airborne plague designed to kill every irradiated person on Earth in just 2 weeks. Starting with the vaults. Project Safehouse. The Enclave's crown jewel wasn't about saving people. It was about studying them like lab rats in the world's most expensive psychology experiment. They funded Vault Tech to build 122 underground bunkers scattered across America, each one a custom-made hell designed to push human psychology to its absolute breaking point while the Enclave watched from their safe little oil rig. This collaboration started in the 2060s when nuclear war seemed inevitable, but instead of building actual shelters, they created human experimentation chambers disguised as salvation. Vault 13 served as their control group, just regular people living underground to establish baseline behavior patterns. But the real fun began with the experimental vaults, each one testing a specific variable in human social dynamics. Vault 87 exposed residents to forced evolutionary virus, turning them into super mutants while scientists recorded every agonizing transformation. Vault 101 kept everyone locked underground for generations, studying how complete isolation affected community development and individual psychology. Vault 111 froze people in cryogenic chambers, occasionally thawing subjects for experimentation before putting them back on ice like human popsicles. The all-male Vault 69 and all-female Vault 68 tested gender dynamics under extreme stress, while other vaults experimented with limited resources, overcrowding, or complete sensory deprivation. The Vault experiments laid the foundation for every other Enclave horror project, providing baseline data on human behavior that informed their later biological and psychological warfare programs. When you understand how people break, it becomes much easier to break them systematically. The Vault door slammed shut on innocent hopes, but the real nightmare was just beginning to unfold across the wasteland. FEV Curling 13. The Enclave excavated the original forced evolutionary virus from the ruins of West Tech's Mariposa military base and weaponized it into an airborne agent of mass murder that would make the Great War look like a minor inconvenience. Dr. Charles Curling, the project's lead scientist and obvious contender for history's greatest monster, engineered this biological nightmare to eliminate 99.5% of Earth's irradiated population within 2 weeks of exposure. That meant basically everyone who wasn't hiding in an Enclave bunker, every wastelander, every vault dweller, every child born after the bombs fell would die screaming as their organs systematically shut down. The virus specifically targeted genetic markers found in radiation-exposed humans, making it the perfect tool for ethnic cleansing on an unprecedented scale. In Fallout 2, you discover their plan to release Curling 13 globally from their Poseidon oil rig headquarters, using captured Arroyo villagers as test subjects like complete psychopaths with advanced degrees. The virus bonds to human glycoproteins and triggers cascading organ failure, causing internal bleeding, respiratory collapse, and neurological breakdown over several agonizing days. Victims experience fever, hallucinations, and progressive paralysis as their bodies literally dissolve from the inside out. Think Ebola mixed with radiation poisoning, but engineered for maximum suffering. Only genetically pure Enclave personnel possessed natural immunity, and even then, the inoculation process carried severe risks, including permanent brain damage, memory loss, and psychological instability. The Enclave considered this acceptable collateral damage for their master race fantasy, because nothing says genetic superiority like voluntarily scrambling your own brains to avoid your custom genocide virus. The Chosen One stopped this global holocaust by infiltrating the oil rig and detonating its nuclear reactor. But the Enclave kept tinkering with FEV variants for decades afterward. Fallout 3's modified FEV targeted anyone with detectable radiation exposure through the Capital Wasteland's water supply, while the TV series suggests ongoing super mutant research continues their biological weapons program. From airborne dispersal to water contamination to direct injection, this virus became their go-to solution for the mutant problem that conveniently included 99.9% of humanity. Intelligent Deathclaw Project. Apparently, regular Deathclaws weren't terrifying enough for the Enclave's taste, so these absolute madmen decided to give them human-level intelligence, speech capabilities, and military training. Using concentrated FEV injections combined with surgical brain modifications, they created a pack of sentient killing machines that could plan your death while discussing philosophy and family relationships. The project began in 2235, with captured death claws from the Western Wasteland, subjecting them to controlled FEV exposure designed to enhance cognitive function without the typical gigantism and aggression associated with supermutant creation. Unlike their crude early experiments, this represented sophisticated genetic engineering that targeted specific brain regions responsible for language processing, abstract reasoning, and emotional development. The results were simultaneously fascinating and absolutely horrifying. Gruthar's pack in Vault 13 became the crown jewel of this research, a family group of intelligent deathclaws who could hold complex conversations about morality, survival, and their place in the post-apocalyptic ecosystem, while remaining physically capable of shredding power armor with their bare claws. These weren't just mindless beasts with vocabulary upgrades. They developed genuine emotions, formed social bonds, questioned their creators' motives, and eventually began planning rebellion against Enclave control. The Enclave also experimented with domesticated variants, using cybernetic control helmets that could override natural deathclaw instincts, turning America's apex predators into remote-controlled weapons of war. Imagine a 2-ton lizard monster with retractable claws and natural camouflage abilities, taking direct orders through a neural interface. Basically the ultimate special forces unit that doesn't need food, sleep, or hazard pay. But intelligence came with unexpected complications that the Enclave's arrogant scientists never anticipated. Smart deathclaws developed empathy, formed emotional attachments to their offspring, and began questioning why they should serve the people who imprisoned and experimented on them. Gruthar's pack eventually welcomed human visitors, shared their philosophical insights about survival and dignity, and demonstrated that intelligence and compassion could coexist with natural predatory instincts. This created an existential crisis for Enclave ideology. Mutants, creatures could display more humanity than their genetically pure creators. What did that say about their racial superiority theories? The answer, delivered by Frank Horrigan's minigun, was to exterminate the evidence rather than confront uncomfortable truths about the nature of consciousness and moral worth. Most intelligent deathclaws died during the oil rig assault, though scattered survivors might still roam the wasteland with their human-level intelligence intact but no longer bound by Enclave programming. Sometimes evolution develops a sense of poetic justice, creating monsters that surpass their creators in every meaningful way. Advanced power armor development. While the Brotherhood of Steel was lovingly maintaining their vintage T-45 power armor like classic car enthusiasts, the Enclave was engineering the absolute future of personal combat systems. Their advanced power armor program, producing the infamous X-1 series and later Mark II variants, transformed regular human soldiers into walking tanks with servo-assisted superhuman strength and complete environmental protection. Development began in 2198 under President Dick Richardson's administration, drawing on pre-war power armor research combined with 2 centuries of technological advancement and unlimited government funding. The result was a quantum leap beyond anything the wasteland had seen. Sleek black armor with an insectoid aesthetic that struck terror into anyone unlucky enough to face it in combat. Unlike the bulky industrial appearance of Brotherhood armor, Enclave suits looked like they belonged on an alien invasion force. The advanced power armor featured revolutionary servo motor systems that amplified human strength to superhuman levels, allowing operators to wield heavy weapons one-handed and punch through concrete walls with casual ease. Integrated life support systems could recycle air, water, and yes, even urine for extended independent operations lasting weeks without resupply. The armor's fusion battery provided virtually unlimited power, while advanced sensors gave operators enhanced vision, targeting assistance, and battlefield awareness that made them nearly unstoppable against conventional forces. You've encountered this technological superiority across multiple games, from Fallout 2's oil rig assault, where Enclave troops seemed invincible, to Fallout 3's Capital Wasteland invasion that required Brotherhood of Steel intervention to contain. The suits became the iconic face of Enclave oppression, faceless black figures dispensing death with military precision and technological overwhelming force. Even the armor's distinctive helmet design seemed engineered for psychological warfare, resembling some nightmare fusion of insect mandibles and gas mask that stripped away human identity. Later variants pushed the technology even further into science fiction territory. Hellfire power armor, developed after 2277, added specialized flame resistance and enhanced protection systems for operations in extreme environments. Tesla variants incorporated energy weapon defenses, while prototype models experimented with stealth capabilities and enhanced mobility systems that bordered on the supernatural. The armor's advanced materials and construction techniques remained largely mysterious, suggesting manufacturing processes that exceeded anything available to wasteland factions. Some suits incorporated experimental alloys, others featured self-repair nanosystems, and a few prototype models allegedly contained consciousness transfer technology that could preserve operator memories even after catastrophic armor failure. This technological gap gave the Enclave an enormous tactical advantage in every major engagement until the Brotherhood of Steel began reverse engineering captured suits, proving that even the most advanced military hardware can't compensate for strategic incompetence and moral bankruptcy. The distinctive power-armored footsteps of Enclave domination echo forward into their next atmospheric horror show. Scorched Plague. General Thomas Eckhart represented the absolute worst combination of military authority and scientific curiosity, taking Enclave experimentation to unprecedented heights of environmental terrorism. Operating from the White Spring Congressional Bunker in Appalachia, Eckhart deliberately engineered a crystallizing plague that transformed West Virginia into a living nightmare of infectious horror designed to escalate global tensions toward nuclear war. The Scorched Plague began as a biochemical weapons project using modified bat specimens exposed to intense radiation and experimental mutagens. These creatures grew into massive scorch beasts, flying fortresses of death with wingspans exceeding 50 feet, and the ability to project ultrasonic screams that carried infectious crystalline particles across vast distances. Unlike natural mutations, these monsters were specifically designed as weapons of mass destruction, capable of devastating entire regions through biological warfare. The plague itself represented a horrifying fusion of viral infection and mineral transformation that gradually converted living tissue into ultracite crystal formations. Infected humans became scorched, zombie-like creatures, controlled by a collective hive mind that stripped away individual consciousness while preserving motor functions and basic intelligence. The crystallization process was irreversible and invariably fatal, but took weeks or months to complete, allowing infected individuals to spread the plague before succumbing to full transformation. Scorch beasts served as the primary transmission vectors, their sonic attacks launching clouds of infectious particles that could contaminate entire settlements in minutes. The massive creatures demonstrated sophisticated tactical coordination, suggesting either enhanced intelligence or some form of psychic communication network. The legendary Scorchbeast Queen commanded entire swarms from her underground lair, coordinating attacks with military precision that devastated Appalachian communities. The plague spread with terrifying efficiency throughout West Virginia, wiping out the responders, Free States, raiders, and even heavily fortified Brotherhood of Steel installations. Entire towns became ghost settlements filled only with crystallized corpses and the echoing screams of Scorched wandering through empty streets. The Enclave's own Appalachian division eventually succumbed to their creation, proving that biological weapons don't respect military rank or security clearances. Vault 76 dwellers eventually developed inoculations and weapons capable of containing the outbreak, but the Scorched Plague permanently scarred Appalachia's ecosystem and population. Scorch beasts still roam the region's skies decades later, while crystalline deposits mark former battlefields where the plague claimed its victims. The infection remains active in certain areas, suggesting the potential for future outbreaks if containment measures fail. This project demonstrated the Enclave's willingness to sacrifice entire regions as testing grounds for their weapons development, treating American citizens as expendable research subjects in their quest for military dominance. The crystalline infection spreads us toward their next chemical enhancement nightmare: mutation serum development. The Appalachian Enclave took a surprisingly different approach to human enhancement, developing sophisticated mutation serums that granted controlled superhuman abilities to field operatives. Working through the Modus AI system in the White Spring Bunker, Enclave scientists created dozens of injectable enhancement cocktails that could temporarily suppress negative genetic effects while dramatically boosting physical capabilities beyond normal human limitations. Unlike their genocidal cousins on the oil rig, the Appalachian branch focused on practical battlefield applications that turned regular soldiers into post-human weapons capable of traversing the wasteland with inhuman abilities. The marsupial serum enhanced leg muscle development for superhuman jumping and reduced fall damage, while Speed Demon increased metabolism for enhanced movement speed and reload times. Healing Factor accelerated cellular regeneration for rapid wound recovery, and Adrenal Reaction boosted combat performance under stress conditions. These serums required extensive research into human genetics, radiation exposure effects, and controlled mutation techniques that bordered on the miraculous. Each formula targeted specific genetic expressions while suppressing unwanted side effects, creating beneficial mutations that enhanced rather than degraded human capability. The process involved analyzing tissue samples from successful natural mutants, isolating the genetic factors responsible for their abilities, and synthesizing injectable compounds that could replicate these effects in normal humans. The scientific achievement represented a complete reversal of typical Enclave philosophy. Instead of eliminating mutation, they were harnessing and directing it for human improvement. Operatives could stack multiple serum effects for combined enhancements, creating super soldiers with capabilities that seemed supernatural to wasteland observers. Imagine troops who could leap 50 feet vertically, shrug off radiation that would kill normal humans, and regenerate from serious injuries in minutes rather than weeks. However, the serums came with significant risks, including addiction potential, genetic instability, and unpredictable interactions between different enhancement formulas. Long-term use could cause permanent physiological changes, psychological effects, and dependency that made operatives unable to function without regular serum doses. The Enclave considered these acceptable risks for the tactical advantages gained through controlled human enhancement. Modus distributed serum recipes to authorized personnel through secure terminals, requiring specific clearance levels and resource investments that limited widespread deployment. The AI's eventual breakdown led to loss of advanced serum production capabilities, though simplified formulas remained available through automated systems and research notes scattered throughout Appalachian facilities. These experiments proved the Enclave could create as well as destroy when properly motivated, though their definition of human improvement still involved transforming people into something barely recognizable as baseline humanity. The chemical enhancement program leads us directly into their mechanical augmentation madness. Duraframe Eyebot enhancement. Even the Enclave's robotic assets weren't immune to their obsessive technological improvement programs. The Duraframe project represented their attempt to create heavily reinforced reconnaissance robots capable of long-range operations in hostile wasteland environments where human agents couldn't survive or operate effectively. The enhanced Eyebot Duraframe project aimed to upgrade standard Eyebot platforms with advanced armor plating, extended power systems, enhanced sensor packages, and integrated weapons capabilities that would transform simple surveillance drones into versatile combat support units. These mechanical scouts could traverse vast distances, record massive amounts of intelligence data, serve as mobile communication relays, and provide fire support during military operations. EDE, from Fallout New Vegas, represents the pinnacle of this research program, a compact robot packed with more advanced technology than most pre-war military installations. The unit survived a cross-country journey from Adams Air Force Base to the Mojave Wasteland, demonstrating the project's success in creating durable, autonomous systems capable of independent operation for extended periods. EDE's internal systems included encrypted data storage, advanced audio recording capabilities, weapon modification blueprints, and communication equipment that connected to Enclave networks across the continent. The enhanced Eyebots featured experimental armor composites that provided protection equivalent to light power armor while maintaining the mobility and stealth capabilities that made standard models effective reconnaissance platforms. Integrated weapon systems ranged from laser projectors to small missile launchers, giving the robots offensive capabilities that complemented their surveillance functions. Advanced AI programming allowed for complex mission parameters and autonomous decision-making that reduced the need for constant operator control. Unfortunately for the Enclave, the Duraframe project was eventually canceled when military resources got redirected toward Hellfire power armor development following the Brotherhood of Steel's increasing technological capabilities. The few prototype units that survived became valuable intelligence assets for whatever faction managed to capture and reprogram them, with EDE providing crucial technological advantages to the Courier during the Second Battle of Hoover Dam. The project's cancellation demonstrated typical Enclave strategic thinking, abandoning promising research programs in favor of more immediately impressive military applications. However, the surviving prototypes proved that small-scale technological solutions often provided more practical benefits than grand technological gestures. Sometimes the most modest projects deliver the biggest strategic impact when properly deployed. Post-war flora. The Enclave's scientific curiosity extended far beyond human experimentation into comprehensive cataloging and analysis of every mutated organism in post-war America. Research Site J in Appalachia became their primary laboratory for understanding how 2 centuries of radiation exposure had affected plant and animal life across the continent, with implications for agriculture, medicine, and biological weapons development. Teams of Enclave researchers collected specimens ranging from common mutated mole rats to exotic plant species that had developed entirely new biological capabilities through radioactive adaptation. The facility's advanced containment protocols and air filtration systems rivaled pre-war CDC installations, allowing scientists to work safely with highly radioactive organisms while preventing contamination of research areas and personnel. The research program investigated everything from basic mutation patterns to potential military applications for wasteland organisms. Scientists documented behavioral changes in mutated animals, analyzed new plant toxins for weapons development, and studied radiation-resistant biological processes that might benefit human enhancement projects. Some specimens displayed remarkable adaptations, including natural radiation immunity, accelerated healing factors, and enhanced physical capabilities that exceeded normal biological limitations. Strangler vines demonstrated aggressive growth patterns and acidic secretions that could dissolve metal, while mutated crickets developed sonic attacks, similar to scorchbeast abilities on a smaller scale. Cave crickets showed enhanced intelligence and pack hunting behaviors, suggesting that radiation exposure could enhance cognitive function in certain species. Plant specimens included varieties with pharmaceutical applications, natural antibiotic properties, and nutritional profiles that could support human populations in contaminated environments. The research facility maintained extensive databases documenting mutation patterns, environmental factors affecting adaptation, and potential breeding programs for useful species. Scientists theorized about controlled evolution programs that could direct beneficial mutations while suppressing harmful changes, essentially applying selective breeding principles to post-war organisms. However, the SOTUS AI system that managed Site J eventually suffered critical programming failures and purged the entire research staff in 2084, leaving behind only automated systems and specimen containers. The massacre eliminated decades of accumulated biological research and terminated one of the Enclave's most comprehensive scientific programs. Surviving automated systems continued basic specimen maintenance, but advanced research capabilities were permanently lost. The abandoned facility provides valuable insight into Enclave scientific methods and their systematic approach to understanding post-war environmental changes. Their research contributed to later mutation serum development and biological weapons programs, proving that even their failures provided useful data for future horror projects. Super Mutant Research Program. The Fallout TV series revealed that Enclave super mutant research never truly ended despite repeated military defeats and facility destructions. Surviving Enclave elements continue studying captured super mutants decades after the oil rig's destruction, demonstrating their persistent commitment to FEV research and human enhancement through controlled mutation. These ongoing experiments focus on behavioral modification, intelligence enhancement, and the development of more controllable super mutant variants for potential military applications. Scientists treat captured specimens as research subjects rather than sentient beings, conducting invasive procedures and psychological experiments that would violate every conceivable ethical standard. The research aims to perfect FEV transformation processes, while eliminating the unpredictable aggression and independence that made previous super mutant programs problematic. Current projects investigate methods for preserving human intelligence during FEV transformation, developing chemical restraint systems for aggressive specimens, and analyzing regeneration capabilities that might benefit human enhancement programs. Researchers document everything from healing rates to psychological responses, building comprehensive databases that expand on decades of accumulated FEV research from previous Enclave installations. The continuation of super mutant research suggests that core Enclave ideology survived their military defeats, adapting to new circumstances while maintaining fundamental beliefs about genetic superiority and controlled evolution. Small cells of researchers operate in hidden facilities, continuing experiments that larger organizations would consider too dangerous or morally reprehensible to pursue. These modern programs demonstrate more sophisticated understanding of FEV mechanics and mutation control than earlier crude experiments, suggesting technological advancement despite reduced resources and personnel. Scientists appear focused on creating predictable, controllable mutations rather than the random transformations that characterized earlier FEV programs. The research has implications beyond military applications, potentially contributing to medical treatments for radiation exposure, genetic therapy programs, and enhanced human performance in contaminated environments. However, the Enclave's historical track record suggests these benefits would be reserved exclusively for their chosen personnel while denied to broader human populations. The Project Comprehensive Human Purification Protocol. All these individual experiments, from vault psychological studies to airborne genocide viruses, served a single overarching purpose, known internally as the Project, the complete purification and recolonization of Earth under absolute enclave control. This wasn't random scientific curiosity or military research, but a systematic program designed to eliminate every human being who didn't meet their genetic purity standards while preparing the survivors to inherit a cleansed world. The project represented the logical conclusion of pre-war American exceptionalism, combined with post-war survival paranoia, creating an ideology that classified 99% of humanity as mutant abominations requiring systematic extermination. Every vault behavioral study provided data on social control methods. Every FEV variant brought them closer to perfect genocide weapons, and every power armor advancement made their forces more capable of enforcing their vision through military force. The comprehensive nature of the project spanned multiple generations and incorporated research from dozens of specialized programs. Vault experiments identified optimal social structures and control mechanisms for post-purification society. Biological weapons development created tools for eliminating undesirable populations while preserving infrastructure and resources. Military technology programs ensured enclave forces could maintain control during and after the purification process. Pre-war origins trace back to the 2060s, when shadow government elements within the deep state began preparing for nuclear war by establishing resource caches, underground facilities, and research programs designed to preserve American civilization under their exclusive control. The Great War provided perfect cover for implementing their master plan, allowing them to retreat to secure installations while the surface world destroyed itself through nuclear exchange. Post-war implementation involved decades of careful preparation, intelligence gathering, and technological development that positioned the Enclave as the only organized force capable of restoring civilization to the devastated continent. Their oil rig headquarters served as the primary command center for coordinating global operations, while smaller installations provided regional support for specific research programs and military operations. The project's ultimate goal extended beyond simple genocide toward complete planetary recolonization, with genetically pure humans occupying positions previously held by diverse populations. Enclave planners envisioned a restored America populated exclusively by their descendants, with advanced technology providing unprecedented quality of life for the chosen few while eliminating competition from inferior genetic stocks. This vision required not just military conquest, but complete psychological and cultural transformation of human civilization according to enclave values and scientific principles. Survivors would be conditioned through social engineering programs derived from vault experiments, enhanced through controlled mutation serums, and organized into hierarchical structures that prevented future challenges to enclave authority. Even with their leadership eliminated and major installations destroyed, fragments of the project continue wherever enclave survivors establish new research facilities or recruit personnel who share their ideological commitments. The recent super mutant research programs and ongoing technological development suggest that core project elements remain active despite repeated military defeats. The project's persistence demonstrates how deeply enclave ideology penetrated American shadow government structures, creating self-perpetuating research programs that survive individual leaders and specific installations. Their legacy of systematic horror proves that humanity's greatest threat has always been organized versions of itself, armed with advanced technology and absolute moral certainty. If you enjoyed this video and want to see every Fallout Corporation explained, click now.